In a world of shiny helmets, spandex jumpsuits, and strange monsters, these heroes force feed you a bowl of awesome that is the Tokudon Podcast. Join Carl and Rob as they haphazardly welcome you to the exciting genre of Tokusatsu. Now, open wide.
Oh, hello!
Hi,
we're here!
Guys. Hello.
We're back! We were just doing a thing, but we're back very quickly.
Yeah, it's a small thing, not a big thing.
Just a small thing. No, it was a very small thing. I was like, we got like 45 minutes. We'll pop in this new Gundam playtest we got cooking here.
Yeah.
So have you seen anything about Gundam Evolution?
I've only heard the announcement and I'm hearing the hype, so what is it?
It's literally Gundam Overwatch. Quite literally.
Really?
Yes, like verbatim, they said, let's make an Overwatch game because Activision Blizzard, it's terrible. So
okay.
Yeah.
When you say Overwatch and you say Gundam, my brain goes to, what's that guy, Reinhardt?
Reinhardt,
The
yep.
dude?
Yep.
More or less that kind of play?
There is a character that's like that. So we were just playing as the main two we were using were Sazabi, because Sazabi.
Oh, good choice.
Yeah,
I mean, why
like,
not?
Come on.
Yeah.
And his thing is a big slow dude who can chuck his beam tomahawk, his actual sword. He can chuck that, and it also stuns people when it hits them. But he not only has his usual shotgun, he can like raise his shield and shoot while the shotgun's up.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. You got
that's not bad.
Yeah, you got like 4 or 5 shots, and then you can't reload unless you drop the shield. That's kind of the payoff to that.
Fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or else you would just walk around as an actual tank.
So it's like, so it's not tit for tat. It's playing off of what the mech should be capable of.
Yeah,
right?
it's literally the same thing. You have an ultimate, you have powers, and then you have your gun that has like an alternate fire and a regular fire. But the powers and abilities are based around the actual mecha. It's not like they took Soldier 76 and just like slapped his abilities on something. But I mean, they kind of did at the same time. Like Pale Rider is the equivalent to Soldier 76, and he has like a firebomb, he has a healing grenade, and then he also has something else I don't remember. Like a regular electric grenade, like a stun grenade kind of thing.
Healing grenade.
Yeah, he like drops like a healing zone you can run into and like heal teammates kind of thing.
That's a thing in Gundam?
It's
I was say, okay.
It's a repair field. Let's call it a Minovsky field.
Okay. Minovsky repair field.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah,
Let's
that's
call
that
it
other
that.
thing. Yeah, they were working on that under the radar.
It was
just
like
weren't
Gundam
sure.
Alex and Minovsky particle fields.
They're like, yeah, we
Gundam.
need to mask everything, but we have this crazy side effect where everybody feels like $1 million in this thing.
I know we have cycle frames and they could potentially kill the person using it, but here's also the happy cancer field.
It's the one guy in the back of the lab who's like, guys, what if we don't? This could be good. This could be fun.
What if we don't further this galactic war?
Okay, hear me out though. Crazy idea. What if it's not a skin melting deteriorant? What if it's actually good for you? What are you talking about? Somebody get this guy out of here.
Somebody get Steve out of here.
Sorry. It's a funny thing. It's a funny idea. Because you always see like the advancements. It's a funny thing that in reality the advancements happen because of war. Oh, yeah. And that's where we get the good shit. Yeah. So you never see anything beneficial.
Good shit.
like what in the UC universe, when do you get beneficial? The Minovsky particles are dope. Beam technology is like amazing, but they don't use it for anything other than to split shit in half. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like part of me thinks I mean they definitely have it on like the repair droids, because I don't know if you remember, but Hathaway in Char's Counterattack like hops in like a repair droid at one point and like flies it back out of the base. So they definitely have like beam technology that's going into like ship repair and stuff like that. I mean, it could also just be a plasma cutter. I don't know.
Super welders just jumping out.
Yeah, like it's some Dead Space nonsense, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny to think about that. Yeah. I love the UC universe, but holy crap, man! All right, so bear with me here. When is the game coming out? Because obviously this is just like
this is just like this is a beta.
So this could not even be like ultimately what it ends up being. This could change like 17 more times before we get whatever they're gonna release.
No, this beta felt like very let's just make sure all the network and stuff works kind of thing. Everyone else seems to be pretty much tackled.
And is the response for that pretty good? Because I'm assuming that it's doing all right. Oh shit! Hi guys. Bums
the initial release date is April 7th. That doesn't sound right.
What?
That could just be for the beta. So yeah, no, it feels like, I mean, they might like speed some stuff up and like, you know, mechanic and balance wise kind of thing. They'll probably do some of that stuff. But for the most part, this feels pretty finite in its final presentation and what it's going for at launch kind of thing. And I mean, it was fun. It was cool. My biggest gripe for we played a match on stream a little bit ago, like right before you hopped on, and then I was messing around in the training mode this morning just to make sure everything worked if I did want to play it on stream. You don't seem to have a melee, and I feel like that's pretty important to the Gundam universe. Like being able to, even if it's just one slash of a beam saber. Like
it should be,
yeah.
You
that,
should have,
in my opinion, is pretty important to just like shooters in general to have a quick little like blah, or like a beam slash or something. I don't know, but they all have an ultimate ability as well that varies suit to suit. That's typically their like creme de la creme, their signature move sort of thing. Like for Sazabi, he pulls out the funnels and it just turns into like a screen clear, basically.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine.
So that's the kind of thing you use, you know, when you're doing like domination objective based kind of thing, where you got to capture the territory and like it's in competition, you just send out the funnels and they take care of the problem.
Is it Japanese or did they English dub it?
No, this is English. It's just Peacemaker said it's scheduled for 2022, just not a solid date beyond that. So yeah, I mean it's fair. I would expect it by fall, honestly. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, it's Gundam. They just don't use like, it's almost like they kind of did like a Build Fighters thing where it's like people in simulation game kind of thing. It's not like Char and Amuro piloting the Sazabi and the Gundam. It's just like random dude number 7 and random girl number 7.
I want to be a new type.
I mean, I'm sure you are a new type. You're not anyone that matters.
a new type with the builder set. Yeah, that's dope.
All right. So like, the suits, some of the more memorable, there's a couple like random ones in there. There's like the Methus, which I don't even know if you know what that is.
No.
Yeah, there's a Methus. There's a couple other random ones, but they have Dom Trooper. They upgraded the Rick Dom. They have Sazabi, they have Base Gundam, they have Barbados, they have Exia, they have a Murasai, which is like the upgraded Zaku 2, and then they also have the Zaku 2. They have the GM Sniper, they have the regular GM, and then they also have a couple other random ones. Gun Tank's in there. Yeah, so they have a pretty good variety right now. It's mainly UC suits, which I expect nothing less, honestly.
I mean, it's going to be, if they're going for that universe, they're just going to keep it.
Yeah, I fully expect for them to have like Xi Gundam from Hathaway's Flash, like when the second movie drops, kind of thing. If not earlier, that kind of tie-in stuff where they can just kind of keep pumping suits into this game because they can literally make them for whatever. Turn A's in there, so you can get some Moonlight Butterfly going. Is
it like where I can't remember Overwatch beyond a couple times I've touched the stick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
But so is it where each is going to be customizable, or are they going to have 45 of the same GM model with like a cannon and a 2 cannons? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's not customizable like you're probably thinking from Battle Operations, since you kind of touched that a little bit recently.
Yeah.
It's not to that level where you can like pick your loadout and stuff. It's you can get different skins. Like for example, Exia has this cool like kind of Tron skin. It's like all black with green highlights on it.
Exia is cool. Anything you do with Exia,
you could do literally anything with Exia, and I'd be down for it.
Yeah, it's such a dope. It's one of my favorite designs. And like you pointed out to me, like I used to just send you like, oh, this is a cool design. Oh, this is a cool design, and you're like, dude, that's just Exia, and I'm like, oh, like it's just.
Oh, look at this cool thing. Oh, look at this thing. Like no, that's just Exia with more stuff slapped on it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it makes sense. Yeah, that and Astrea Gundam. Those two
Astrea
seem to speak to me the most.
Well, Astrea is the precursor to Exia, so that makes sense.
Right, and that's what I mean. Like, it's just like those two designs are just like speak to me, and it's creepy that I didn't realize that until you had pointed out.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, these are all so dope.
Did you watch the? I mean, we're gonna go into Gundam more in the other podcast at some point. But did you see that video I sent you the other day of the new short that they have from Double O?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
with Exia has a bigger, dumber sword than he has ever. Actually, it's
super
not
mega
bigger than the
riser
riser sword, but it's a big, dumb physical sword.
I mean, you can't get much bigger than the planet splitting riser sword, but close enough.
If you're gonna do a physical one, this is the one to do it. It's literally just like a Cloudbuster sword for anyone who hasn't seen it. There's a new CG Double O short, I guess, where they release. It's a new. They're gonna be making it a metal build figure. It's a new like expansion set that kind of comes with a bunch of sub arms, and it can hold like multiple beam sabers. And they did one for Dynames and one for Exia.
So it's gonna be the Asura version. Nice.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Peacemaker demands Windmill Gundam. I demand Tequila Gundam. Damn it.
Tequila Gundam?
And then Tequila Gundam, what was the one from Build Fighters? I forget what it's called. The one that was dragging the coffin.
There's a Gundam dragging a coffin?
Yeah, it's Tequila Gundam from... Do you know what Tequila Gundam is?
No, this is why I'm asking.
Okay. Well, Tequila Gundam, that is correct. So, I'm going to open your mind to the verse of Deeper G Gundam, which isn't even that deep. It was just like a random final round kind of bout. I'm going to pop it in the Discord now.
Nice.
Boop. Boop. So this is Tequila Gundam.
Orale.
Yeah, literally, quite literally.
Orale. I dig it.
Yeah, so that's... I'll pull it up for everyone who isn't hanging out. If you're watching the audio version, Tequila Gundam is Neo Mexico, I believe's Gundam.
Yes.
And
so,
yeah, it has a trident on the back. It has a double trident in a holster kind of thing. It has an actual sombrero, and it has cacti shoulders and forearms. The better to punch people with.
And shoulder taco. Shoulder taco.
Yeah. And then they have the Daniel Custom, which is from the Build Fighter show. It is on the screen here for you. Let me just put it in the Discord quickly. If you would like to hang out in our Discord, the link will be in the video, or I can post the link up in just a minute for our live viewers. So this is the Daniel Custom. This is quite literally a cowboy variant. It has revolvers. It has everything.
Wow. Okay, I dig it now.
Yeah, and it drags the actual the missile unit from Kiryu's. I don't know if you're familiar with that, the actual missile unit. I don't know. You'd probably know it if you saw it. It's literally just a missile pack.
There's a lot that I would know by sight. Yeah, yes. I would know a lot by sight.
Just from passively listening to me and Steve talk about it over the years. Yeah. It's literally like a missile silo that plugs into the butt of one of the plain ones from Double O. So he's dragging that on chains with this Daniel Custom. And yeah, it's sick.
Yeah, it looks every bit as badass as you're describing, man. I dig this a lot. Especially with the sombrero. It's a legit sombrero.
It's a legit sombrero.
That's amazing. And it has a scarf. So, rule of Kamen Rider, throw a scarf.
There you go. Exactly. And it's a little like face cover scarf kind of thing too. It's nothing super extra. So I'm down for that.
Is this a villain Gundam or is this like one of the heroes?
Not a villain. It's just, so in Build Fighters, it's kind of like an open world MMO tournament kind of thing. So they just like openly challenge each other, and he was just one of the other challengers.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and Fies Dania saw Malaysia Gundam on there, and they are from Malaysia as well, and they want the Skull Gundam upgrade. I am waiting for Skull or Crossbone Mao Double X is what I'm waiting for.
Crossbone.
Crossbone Mao.
That was the only one I played in those Melee games, in the Dynasty games. I used to just use the
I mean, X1 was goddamn disgusting in that thing.
Oh man, that was so nice.
Yeah. I really hope they bring back Shin Dynasty Warriors Gundam, honestly, or Dynasty Warriors Gundam Reborn, whatever you want to call it. Shin Gundam
I was just on the PlayStation store yesterday, and I was looking up like just whatever, and I saw that now they have like a Dynasty All Stars game. Like there's just like a Dynasty Warriors that takes, I guess, it takes Yukimura, it takes Zhao Yun, it takes like a bunch of random characters.
Yeah, so they have
random franchises.
Is it the one that's actually called All Stars?
Yeah, it's legit called.
So Dynasty that's all of like I want to say Kotetsu. That's the toy guy. The Koei Tecmo. There we go. It takes all of Koei Tecmo's like properties and does like a Super Musou crossover kind of thing.
That's exactly what it looked like. I'm like
Ryu's in there. They actually pulled Ryu's moveset from there to put him in the new Orochi 4. So
really,
yeah, they did fun stuff like that. And yeah, I just want a new freaking Gundam game that's not a shooter.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I guess battle operation is
it would end up what other than being third person and being inside the cockpit, what else would you do? You know what I mean? Like, first person is going to feel like a shooter. Third person is going to feel like a shooter.
Yeah. Honestly, what I really want is just Gundam Breaker 4 is what I really, really want. And Fies is saying that Neo Malaysia's Gundam should be related to Salat. I am 10,000% here for the Raid Gundam.
Raid Gundam. Ooh. I like the way that sounds.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. Yeah, no, just any kind of punch mech I am here for.
So basically you could do like a Rock'em Sock'em Robots, like a jock. What is it? The
Robot Jocks.
Robot Jocks. That, like, it would be fun to try to, like, a fighter game. But I don't know, like, what a fighting game that doesn't feel super clunky. You know what I mean? I don't know how you're gonna get mechs to not feel like Dragon Ball fighters and not feel like Virtua Fighter 1. You know what I mean?
There is a Robo Fighter. Please hold. I believe it's called Seth Killian, of all people, actually made it.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out what it's called. It's like Rolling Thunder or something like that, or Rising Thunder. There we go. Rising Thunder is a game. It was kind of the, I don't know what you want to call it, like the brainchild, like a concept game that Seth Killian had made once he left Capcom. And it is just a bunch of mechs fighting it out. And the whole thing was skills cooldown. Their whole, sort of like how Grand Blue Fantasy and a couple other Gundam or games kind of do, like, you can do easy inputs for the skills or you can do the actual motions. They did something like that.
I see.
But yeah, this was big robots beating the piss out of each other, but it felt like a Street Fighter game. It's essentially real still Fies.
Yeah, it looks like one. I'm gonna put some pics up on the Discord here, but it looks like it plays like a Street Fighter game.
Yeah, I mean, it's Seth Killian. That dude is Street Fighter. You know, he was for many, many moons. So, and I will put the link to the Discord.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of what I was aiming for. Something that doesn't feel super cheesy. Like, I'm not doing Hadoukens just to win. Well, I guess it would be what.
I think the equivalent to that in this game was like a ninja star, like a Robo Ninja Star. Yeah, that was like the Shotokan Shoto type character in that game.
Well,
so
I would try it.
Yeah,
let's see if we can try that. That would be dope.
It'd be cool. I don't know if you can still find it on like Steam or anything like that. You may just have to go to like the developer page, but you know, it is what it is. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for like what to do this week. Honestly, that might taper down a little bit just because we're gonna be doing the new podcast that kind of tackles all this sort of stuff that isn't related to Toku.
Podcast? New stuff coming up.
Yeah, we're working on it. So there's 2 of them we're working on currently.
Nice.
Yeah, one is called Carl's Coffee Corner, and I decided to drop the Kaiju Part because that was too many C's. Exhausted.
The alliteration was a little too intense on that.
Yeah, it was a little too much alliteration. So it's just Carl's Coffee Corner. And essentially it's going to be this sort of thing, just with a whole bunch of other people talking about a whole bunch of other things that are kind of nerdy and pop culture-y, like Gundam, like, you know, fighting games, like whatever. The whole idea is just kind of expand on the stuff that we usually just kind of briefly touch on in the beginning of this podcast. But, you know,
our tangents seem to be flushed out there. So yeah, that makes sense.
So it's going to be more of not Toku related things, but obviously there'll still be the air of Toku in there because it's inevitable and it's in the blood. So
I dig it, man. You know, I'm excited for that. That's awesome. It's going to be something to look forward to, and then you know, we can talk about all that other random stuff that we also like.
All the things that we like waste people's time on in this podcast, we can just talk about over there. You know, people come in and they're like, "Hey, I'm here to learn about Kamen Rider," and then I'm like, "Hey, but this cool fighting game though."
Have you heard about Warhammer?
Let me tell you about our Lord and Savior, the Daemon Prince of Siege. Okay, let's just listen.
Just sit and listen, and we'll get to the Toku. But you're gonna sit through this first.
That's the mentality of the other podcast. Just pull up a hot beverage, chill, relax, and just hang out and talk about stuff. So yeah.
Dope.
And then the other one we're working on, it's still in the little babu stages, so we're not really sure the direction we're going to go yet, but I will be working on that one potentially with my partner. So
dope.
Yeah,
dope.
We'll see.
Awesome. Looking forward to that stuff.
Yeah. So, but you know what isn't off topic? Ultraman.
it's ultra important that we stay on topic.
It is ultra important and ultra bad if you diverge from the intensity that is Ultra Galaxy Fight: The Absolute Conspiracy.
Let me tell you about this movie. Let me tell you about this.
Before we even talk about it, did you watch it in English or Japanese?
So, coincidentally, I started it in English, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to take notes, so maybe I'll watch it in English. But the second episode played in Japanese, and I'm like, I will not go back to English ever again.
So, the nice thing about this one is it's a web series on Tsuburaya's website. It is on their YouTube for free right now. I know their region lock is kind of weird and wonky, where it's all over the place, but as of right now, it should be available to almost every region. It was released as a mini series, and I think the episodes are about 15 minutes or so.
More or less. I mean, you basically take away about 2 minutes on each end, because they have the opening and the ending in every episode. So dude, you get like 9-minute episodes. It's so servable that it worked so well. Just to power through it.
And so this will be an interesting contrast, because you watched it in the episode form and in majority of it in Japanese. I watched the movie edit in English.
Oh boy!
So I watched the entire thing in English. And let me tell you, it was a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be in English. Really? Yeah, they actually did a really nice job.
All right, so before we get into that, because I do have a couple questions about that when we get there. So ultimately, yes, this content could be broken down into the episodic format, and it was a movie. So either way you consume it, it kind of works. The standalone episode is the first episode. Every other one kind of interlocks after that.
Yeah,
you could watch the first episode, which is the first 10 minutes of the movie, I guess.
Yeah, the movie's about 2 hours long, actually.
Yeah, it's almost about 2 hours. Yeah, but you could basically walk away after that first couple chunks and be okay. That could have been like a special on its own.
Yeah,
they then take elements of that first episode that don't really matter, but then the rest of the movie is so interdependent that I couldn't imagine them releasing this week to week like that. Like I was wondering why they did the episodic thing when it couldn't have done that after the first.
And part of I think our opinions, because I know you're in a similar boat to this movie, would probably be different for someone who's been invested in Ultraman. So both of us have very minimal contact with the Ultraman series. It's a growing contact. You know, I've just finished Zet. I'm working on Trigger. I may stop Trigger, so it's fine. I saw all the forums, and not a whole lot's going on. I hear that's kind of the thing, so we'll see. Taiga kind of has my eye next. I want to check out Taiga.
He's prominent in this movie too.
Yeah, so. he's prominent in this because this came out right before Zet started, as you can probably tell. So yeah, it's interesting, and I really appreciated the recap on who the characters are.
So yeah, let's clear that up, because we're so minimally versed in Ultraman. It really gave a helping hand to people like us who didn't know these characters familiarly. Because again, we know that as rich of a history as Ultraman has, each of these characters have their own story too. So every time they did an introduction or a name drop or something like that, they gave us enough pretext and explanation to understand that these are all different entities, and they're all important.
And they all got their own sick little splash screen, which I thought was one of the highlights of this movie.
Which is what helped my notes like immensely. I'm like, holy crap!
I'm trying to like log names as they show up, sort of thing, just in case. And then it may not have been right away, but eventually they all get a cool like strike a pose. Their name shoots across the bottom.
Yep, all of them each get their ultra introduction, and it's
ultra fantastic, actually.
So let me also say, before we get into this, I'm also appreciative of this movie on the level that, because I'm such a neophyte, that watching this movie was like, wow, Ultraman is freaking great.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I was like, Ultraman is amazing, and I'm like, and after I watched it, I'm like, when I get more familiar with Ultraman, I'm gonna watch this again and have 3 more levels of appreciation that I didn't have before.
Yep.
Because it's such a good movie. It's a good show. Whatever it is.
I'm so glad you said that, because I was like, I'm gonna come on this and I feel like Rob's gonna shit on it because there's not really a plot. But then because of also our history with Ultraman on this show, right? Like we've seen a lot of not great Ultraman on this show.
That was a
not
concern.
by choice. We were doing a random roulette back in the day. So our history with it is a little like skewed in the wrong direction. So I was like,
unfairly.
I'm watching this and literally being like, do I fucking love Ultraman?
Like I'm like the first 15 minutes, I'm like, dude, what have I missed? Where has this been? Where in all the Ultraman shit that we have watched is this?
Yeah.
And I know it has a lot to do with the director and the writer and all that stuff. And I know it's just like it's such a capture of what Ultraman is, that I'm okay with thinking that this is Ultraman 2. You know what I mean? Like, leave me with this, and I'm okay too. Because this
it was so fun. It's literally called Ultra Fight, Ultra Galaxy. I'm sorry. The Ultra Galaxy Fight, the absolute conspiracy. And it is part of the Ultra Fight spin-off series, which apparently is its own little thing, which I'm assuming is kind of like Kamen Rider Tyson. Because that's clearly what this was. This was just a Tyson of every Ultraman.
Yeah. It's every Ultraman showing off their stuff and everybody having a good ass time about it. Like, and levels that the Easter eggs that even I understood. I was like, oh wow, that's probably much doper than I'm appreciating right now. Like, there's so much going on in this movie that there's multiple watches too.
There is no less than, from my count, 35 different Ultramen in this show.
I didn't even realize that.
Yep.
Really?
35 different Ultramen. So I think the easiest way to tackle this is just kind of go by like Ultraman by Ultraman. There's not a lot of plot here, honestly. It is the most basic plot in the world.
Basically, you have the appearance of this character, Tartarus, Absolute Tartarus, who introduces himself at every opportunity.
Every chance he gets.
Every chance he gets to say his name, and he loves it. And he says it with such milkiness and cheesiness that I'm sure it was even worse in English, because holy crap, in Japanese it was enough. But so he starts to unload this plot that's I think important, but I'm not really sure yet.
Yeah.
So the idea you should come along before we get into this movie is it's not complete. This movie is a part 1 or part 2 already. It's something of before we get the finality. So this has the Infinity War vibe to it.
Yeah.
You're introduced to this high octane, crazy action, very little progress of a plot, because literally a lot happens in a number of days that doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he's overlooking the world, and we're introduced to I guess one of the 3 main characters, the revolving characters that kind of progress the plot.
Yeah.
Reboot, I guess his name is
Reboot.
pronounced?
Yeah.
Reboot?
So Peacemaker also said that this is actually the second, I guess. I thought New Generation Ultras or Heroes, whatever they call it, was after this, but I guess not. So
it felt like a middle ground, maybe. I don't know, but
I just assumed they threw a new Ultraman in there because it's a movie, and they seem to be doing that, like with the next one that's coming out. So yeah, but yeah, Reboot is the most Ultraman-looking Ultraman since the OG himself. This dude is, I thought it was regular Ultraman, honestly, until they called him Reboot. And I didn't even notice the glowy things on like his arms and legs until they started glowing. So
I dig that. So he and Max arrive on this not normal planet, they call it Mikarito. Mind you, Spanish and Japanese are so connected linguistically that Mikarito literally means my little car in Spanish.
Nice.
So I keep hearing my little car and they're talking about this planet. Anyway, so they discover on this planet that there's this planet devouring monster egg. And it's starting to take in all this life, and suddenly this monster appears, and Reboot and Max start to fight it until a second monster appears, Alien Sran, and I'm sure that's a legacy monster. I'm not sure exactly which one, because they dropped the name. They tend to drop a lot of names on the legacy monsters in this movie, I'm assuming. So anyway, he shows up, they capture Max, and he starts to become a monster, and it's through this injection of something called Gudis cells, something like that.
Gouda cells, got it.
Yeah, Gouda cells, monster cells. It's going to turn Max into a monster, into an ugly monster. Excuse me. It sounded like such an awful fate. Over time, over the injection of these Gouda cells, Max will eventually become an ugly monster.
Yes.
And feed the egg thing.
Maga Orochi.
Yeah, the Maga Orochi.
That's a classic Ultraman monster. I think it's a newer gen one. I could be wrong though. I just remember seeing it in a lot of the newer stuff. Like it's in Z, it's in G.
Yeah, it's like this cluster of like purple eggy tentacle thing.
Yeah, it's a very like Destroya looking monster. Almost.
And I don't mean to skimp out, but the fights in this, the choreography in this was amazing. Even in the beginning, when they first take on those two little aliens, it's not a whole sequence. It's maybe a couple or two blows, but clean, crisp, so good to see.
Yeah, no, the fights in this are actually kind of amazing. I have described Ultraman fights on this show previously as a bunch of 5-year-olds bouncing into each other, wrestling on a trampoline. And there is definitely a moment or two of that. I mean, that's just Ultraman. So
I didn't mention it to you, but I did do a little trick that I read in the comments. In the comments of the thing that I watched, it said, suggestion to watch this at 1.7 times speed.
Okay.
And that's what I did. So to go in with your note, when I first watched the first episode, it was slow. And it felt the Ultraman vibe.
Yeah.
And then I put it into 1.7 times speed. And the fights felt like normal fights, bro.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, I have described it as that, but this, honestly, like, I didn't know that until just now. I played it at normal speed, and, like, these fights were exciting. Like, they were really well done and choreographed and pretty interesting, even for being the entire movie on a green screen, which I feel like may have been a COVID thing. I don't know when this movie was produced. It came out between 2020 and 2021, so that was, like, prime COVID stuff. And also, I should also clarify, Peacemaker mentioned that Reboot is from an Indonesian exclusive cartoon and they made it into a live action.
Yes, he's a foreign Ultraman. Yes.
Like the Australian one, 13 or whatever he is.
There's two other ones. There's one from America and another one from Australia, right?
Yes, 13 movie? I think is the one from Australia. I don't know what the one from America is called.
Great Powered?
Is it Great?
Something like that.
Great's in here, so if that's the case, yes, it's Great.
One of those two. Great or Powered, he's one of those two. But anyway, and they don't, and the effects in this are amazing too. So it's not like there's no unclean shot in this. Everything looks really good. So if you were to introduce somebody like us into Ultraman, this would definitely be something I would show them to understand that this is where you should be mentally with all this. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it's meant to be. At least that's how I got, because I was not bored at all. I just wanted there to be more to happen with the plot that they dragged out.
I honestly didn't care. That's how good it was. Because, like, I mean, it's no secret. I don't care as much about plot. That's not a secret. If there's something there that's as simple as Absolute Tartarus is building the Legion of Doom, that's good enough for me. If your fight scenes are good, if your fight scenes are good, that's essentially what this turns into. Absolute Tartarus is, by the way, one of the best designs I've seen in years. I think that dude has a fantastic design. The gold and the black silver. I'm sorry, the gold and the silver underlay. It looks so clean, so dope. But I think it was best contrasted. Did they even name that blue guy? Which one? There's multiple blue men. The partner one that showed up. Yes, the one who kept like summoning the old monsters. Yes. Please hold. I will find it. Because the two of them together gave me the Ornstein and Smaug vibes. Like, I was like, oh wow, that's dope. But for the life of me, I didn't catch his name if they mentioned it. I'm trying to find it because there's a list on the wiki here of So anyway, so Yulian and Kui and Sora, who are two other Ultra figures, I'm not too familiar with them, but I know their legacies. They meet Queen Izana.
and they're attacked by this another legacy monster called the Lugosite.
Yes, which
the
is
Cosmos
a fantastic
Eater. It looks
thing.
dope. It is a dope design. The blue on black, the blue on the red and the is it gold and white, something like that. It is such a clean design. I like it a lot.
I'm gonna stop you for just a second because I found a picture of Gudis that needs to be shared.
Oh, please.
Yes, from like the Gudis cells. And this this needs to be shared with the world currently.
That is.
Yep, this is a thing that happened. So I am essentially looking at Hokkaider if he shed his armor and then became a bloated, weird, disgusting tentacle monster. Is essentially what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah, and it has phallic looks.
Yep,
okay,
yep. So that happened. That's a Gudis.
Yeah, that's Gudis. Gudis looks like a giant tentacle phallic creature.
Penis.
It's a penis.
The blue dude's name is Rebados, and he is actually from one of the Ultra Fight orbs. I think it might be that prequel series. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so those two are the ones summoning all the problem monsters, and the Legasite shows up and starts smacking around Sora and Yulian, and then Ultraman 80 shows up, and it was one of the moments where you know how this movie is gonna go, because when he showed up, he takes on the monster and his theme song is playing in the background.
Oh yeah, every time one of them shows up, the theme song is blasting, and I loved it.
And it's dope because he takes on the Lugosite on his own, one-on-ones it, bodies it like
as the chorus screams out, "He came to us from the stars."
It's so dope. This choreography is so dope, but it's a quick fight because I guess you could tell that the suits are fragile, so they couldn't do too much with it. But
I don't know, because the monster ones, I feel like they were actually smacking the dudes in the monster suits.
The monster suits, yes. But the Ultraman figures were doing a lot of projectiles.
Yes, they were. Which I mean, that's also I feel like just newer age Ultraman stuff. Just like I mean, that's old Ultraman too. They all have 5,000 techniques. But I feel like more so the newer one is like do some fighting and then it turns into Dragon Ball for 10 minutes and then do some more fighting. So
it's dope that the choreography is on point.
Mm-hmm.
All dope shit. He actually kicks its ass and it runs away. Reboot, Sora actually know each other. I guess they're childhood friends. I don't know much about that. I'm
assuming it's from the cartoon.
We're introduced to Ultraman Hikari and Taro, right?
Yep. And Taro still holds up as one of the coolest designs in all of Ultraman. Those horns.
Taro and Taiga have like that such intimidating look. Like it's.
And one thing I learned from this, I did not know, because again, I don't know much about Ultraman. I didn't know Taro was Ultra Father's son and Taiga was his grandson. I mean, obviously Taro's, Taiga's Taro's son. Direct. I didn't know Father of Ultra was Taro's father.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Then.
Yeah, wow. And then we get eventually down the line, we also meet Ultraman Ken in the prequel for Belial, which we'll get into in a minute. But I didn't know he was known as anything else besides Ultra Father, or Father of Ultra, I should say.
Father of Ultra.
Yeah, and it was cool to see kind of that origin. And then I always thought they just both had horns. I didn't even put two and two together that like that's Taro's dad.
It does make sense. Yeah. I mean, it's such a unique look that it.
Yeah, they're the only ones with horns. It makes sense.
Yeah. So we're introduced to Hikari, who's working on.
Hikari is also one of my favorite designs in all of Ultraman. I will have to say.
And I like that he's. Excuse me. I don't know if it's the actor, but he's a smaller Ultraman. He's not quite as large as the other ones.
All of the blue ones seem to be like scientists and the casters of Ultraman. Like every single season we've seen where they can like shift colors or shift to a different form. The blue one is always like the speedy form. It's the throw stuff around form.
It's thematic with Ultraman.
And I think they called them the like space scientist group, something like that. I feel like the blue ones are technically more like the intelligence based Ultraman, while the red ones are like the warrior class almost.
Gotcha. I like it. I mean, his design, his helmet design is dope.
Yeah.
So we come to understand that Max is fighting off these Guidu cells, and he has 3 days before he turns into a monster fully.
Yep.
So the idea is to, in those 3 days, wait till the 3 days are up to make an antidote, train, reboot, and see what happens.
Yeah, I was like, hey, you got 3 days. Let's wait till the absolute 0 hour to try and make an attempt.
Let's wait till the third day. But we can finish this now.
I get like, take the 3 days to train, but also maybe send, like, I don't know, Johnnyus, because he's clearly the biggest dick on campus. Send Johnnyus out there, or literally any of the 7 giant badasses standing in this room. Literally the original 7 standing in this room.
Carl, we need the other 9 episodes.
I know. I'm just saying. Why wait till the 0 hour so Reboot can have his moment? Who didn't even really have a huge moment at the end of this. But
I mean, he had the definitive moment.
Yeah, he's the one who did the Goku shot. You know, everyone else took care of the minions, and he did the Goku shot. But Peacemaker's also saying Hikari is the reason we have all the legacy gimmicks. Yes, he is the one developing all the, like, changers, and he made, like, the Z Riser and the Jeed thing and all that kind of stuff.
Really? So he's like the fenster of them. He just designs all this
he's
shit.
the who's your boy in Revice right now? George. He's the George of the Ultraman universe.
I'm digging it. Okay, Hikari, you and I have a lot to discuss. So, they decide that that's what they're gonna do. So Hikari goes off to make the antidote. Reboot goes to planet K76, which I assume is the homage planet, where the warriors train. So he's going to Vegeta himself and to try to become Super Saiyan. Where he meets 2. Excuse me, I'm dying here. Take over for a sec.
Yeah, this is where he meets Great and Powered. Like we said, one of those is the American one. And essentially they just beat the piss out of him for 3 days.
Yeah, they give him the whole superhero hazing where they kick his ass to unlock his inner power.
They're like, "Are you ready to train?" And then just like punch him in the balls.
Yeah, that's literally how it works. So they're beating his ass throughout this episode. Meanwhile, you have another thing going on Planet Feed where Neos, Ultra 721, and 80.
I didn't know if Ultra 721 and Ultra 7 were the same person or not.
I guess not.
I guess not, because Ultra 7 showed up at some point too. I was just a little confused. So
I mean,
that's all.
These are the newer designs, and the one thing I will say is they managed to keep the designs contrasting enough in the scenes that they didn't blend together. Because to me, a lot of the Ultramen look alike, but they managed to keep the ones that look different enough in the same scenes that you can distinguish them. Except the ending.
Because the common argument for Ultraman is like, they all look the same. No, they really don't. I counted 7 that look exactly the same, and when they were moving around, I could not tell them apart.
Right, that's what I mean. At the ending, and then
the only reason I could tell Reboot apart is because after he's done this training, he gets a shield on his arm.
And the little,
So that's the only reason I could tell the difference. And then there's Ultraman, OG, Great, Neos, Zoffy, Jack, and there's 1 or 2 more others in there, I think, that I just could not tell the difference.
And they do this a lot in the movie, and I'm like, okay.
And it's like when they're standing still and you're looking at him, you're like, oh, okay, this dude's got some of these things going on. This dude's got this. When they're moving around, like there's a point where one of them hangs out with it's the original Ultra brothers, right? Like the 6 original Legendary Ultras are doing their thing. They all looked exactly the same to me.
Bro, it is literally the argument of Ichigo, Nigo, and V3. No, they're different. Of course they're different, but it's not that much. I get it. I'm sorry. It's just, to me, it's not that much.
Yeah. And but even just saying that, I was like, what are you talking about? They look very different. But I know anyone not familiar with Kamen Rider would look at those 3 and go, oh, no, they're all the same dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like, I get it. I know. But no. And I'm sorry.
And that's the exact gut reaction I know every Ultraman fan has when this discussion comes up.
Sons of bitches, mind your tongues. Like, no, we're not being blasphemous. We understand. We hear it. We got you. Yeah. But anyway, so they're kicking his ass to try to bring out the inner demon.
The inner Tai Chi, if you will.
Yeah, these 3 show up and they're looking for the Leukocyte monster, and they're playing another theme song as they track it down. The baddies show up and they summon a 3rd monster, Gimira, which I'm sure is another legacy monster. And 80 takes him on. Doesn't do too well this time. But somehow, in between all this and the first episode, there's only 1 day left already. So he's been getting his ass kicked for like 2 days.
48 hours
He's
later.
Been getting Kenpachi'd and Unohada'd so hard that he finally unlocks his Ultraman, Ultra Reboot, Ultra Instinct form.
It was his Tai Chi form apparently. So
Bakwan Tai Chi is basically
he went hard into the Kung Fu, and I didn't hate it, honestly. It was kind of sick.
He becomes the one.
Yeah,
and
he got like the flowing arms and everything. It was literally Ultra Instinct.
Dope.
Yeah, it was literally Ultra Instinct, and then he gets the shield.
The glowy things on his forearms and his legs glow, and he takes on Powered and Great on his own by doing. It's such a sick movement, man. And it's like, and I know that because I watched it a little faster, it looked like a normal sequence of movements. I'm sure it's got that power look, but dude, so clean. I was like, that's really cool. How. Yeah, so dope. So anyway, and he also gets the buckler and the space rod, or space spracer rod, whatever it's called.
Ultra spreader or something like that.
Spracer? I read spracer, but it could be spreader. So anyway, Planet Feed, back on Planet Feed. The Ultras aren't doing so well, and then Cosmos and Justice arrive. Yep. Justice I'm not too familiar with, but I like the design.
I think he's the secondary in Cosmos. I could be wrong though.
It makes sense because they do later on this fusion thing.
Yeah.
So Cosmos, and it's the standard mode for Justice and the Corona mode for Cosmos. And I like the Corona mode. Of all the planar modes with the blue and all that was clean. I like that.
Yeah.
So
which I thought it was really funny that his name is like the hero of kindness, and then he immediately goes in and starts giving people the hands. I was like, okay, we're here for peace. Whap.
I am a peacemaker. Let me introduce you to justice and democracy.
I just thought that was so cool. Who are we going to send to beat up these aliens? The hero of kindness.
The hero of kindness makes the most sense to me. What about you, Jim? I'm on it! So they power up to doper modes. Crusher mode is for Justice, and Cosmos Future mode, which is even cleaner, bro. Ooh. Yeah. So they fight off, they give the blast to the monster and it eats shit. And then they finish off the antibody for Max, giving it to Reboot, who's now super powered.
Yep.
By the time they get to him, though, he's already half a monster. And, it's already like, it's obvious that they're going to have to take him on. This monster takes 5 shots.
5 full Spacium rays to the chest.
5, bro. I'm like, he is not okay. He's not okay, and it's okay that he's not okay.
He's not okay. They had no other choice. I just pulled up Ultraman Legend, which is the fusion form of Cosmos and.
Yes, that happens later on. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, does that happen later? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's later on.
But it's here. It's there. It's pretty sick design. I like this one a lot.
It's such a clean. It's the cleanest. Yeah. Anyway, so this monster gets destroyed by the 5 Ultras. I mean, he's taken 5 shots simultaneously, gone.
Well, this isn't like a disrespectful thing either. Like they've all gone. Multiple of them have attacked this thing. We're talking about Lucasite right now. And this thing is a monster and terrifying, and has taken all of these dudes. Yes, it's the Cosmos Eater, it's this really cool, like blue and red looking dragon. It looks almost like
Let's see if I can find a picture.
Oh, what's it called? Glavenus from Monster Hunter. It has that kind of armor look to it. It has the dark blue and the deep reds. A little bit of gold accent on there, but it looks like this very angry dragon thing. And I am here for it.
Oh man, look at this.
It looks like the problem that it is.
There you go. It's got like this this heavy Space Godzilla vibe, but it's so angrier. So yeah, I put up a picture of Lucas. So yeah, that thing just took a shot from 5 Ultramen at their peak. So it's okay. It's not there no more.
Yep. Nope, it's done. It's fine.
Yeah. So and immediately after that, and that's, you get this dope ass sequence where they're all, badass. They're like, and then Absolute Tartar shows up and beasts them with one blast. You know what I mean? And it's like, what kind of power scaling are you doing now? Like, this dude can bank them all with one blast.
Yep.
So anyway, that happens. Reboot saves Max with the antidote after having to fight him off. It was a half-hearted fight because you could tell it was like 1 or 2 moves just to get the excuse to stab him with the thing in the chest, and that was dope. He kind of like does this little twisty arm thing and stabs him in the chest. That's dope.
Because he's got that like monster arm going on. And he
has one crab arm. I got the clamps. I got one clamp for you. The egg hatches and it's a problem. So this
Maga Orochi comes out.
Yeah. Finally beats everybody. Max gets his power up from the power friendship. I forget what happened there, but I wrote the power friendship.
Essentially someone like gave them his energy kind of thing.
Maybe it was Hikari, because didn't he get a thingy?
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember exactly what happened, but he got a little drop of energy and it refueled him. Or no, it was his like final form bracer thing comes over and
Ultraman Xenon. Ultraman Xenon shows up. That's who shows up. I don't know who Xenon is, but he looks dope. I like his design. He has kind of like that Hikari style helmet where it's like a split.
Yeah.
It's all about that for me, I guess. But he has that and he shows up. Once again, we get the official introduction to Absolute Tartarus this time.
Yes,
absolutely.
He calls himself full speech.
Yes, he calls himself Absolute Tartarus, a warrior of the ultimate life form Absolutian, which is probably which speaks volumes because now we're knowing that he's the herald of something else, of the Galactus. You know what I mean? This is like the Silver Surfer. This is who we're getting here. So anyway, so he shows up and Ultraman Legends is this is where you sent that. Ultraman Legend is Justice and Cosmos fused.
Yeah.
Dope ass design. So clean.
So cool. It reminds me a lot of, I'm assuming this is where they got it. Zero Beyond has a very similar kind of like silver and purple thing going on. I'm assuming that's kind of where they got that from, the inspiration. But yeah, Absolute Tartarus is, like I said, one of my favorite designs. And he literally, from what I'm gathering so far, and this is going out of order a little bit, the Absolutian is like the race, I'm assuming. Because they kind of, I don't think it's an actual being, even though he says
it's like a collective.
I think, it's like their species, because he talks about it a little bit later. But like, I was trying to figure out the entire time, every time he says it, it sounds like it's a being, like you're saying, like his Herald of Gargos, Herald of Galactus.
That's what I thought. I got the vibe that but it does make sense if it's a collective hive mind.
I think it's his race of people are the Absolutians, because they're the Absolutions. I just don't know if Absolutian is like the one or if it's the race, like if it's a royal you versus you kind of thing.
He calls himself a warrior of it. Whatever the ultimate life form is, that's what he is. So he's not the end all be all. He's the step one. So yeah, it gets worse. So anyway, they force him to retreat because they actually fuse to form Ultraman Legend, and I put that up in the Discord. And he blasts him and makes him retreat. Reboot and Max destroy the monster, the Maga Orochi together.
Maga Orochi.
And they decide to come up with a plan against Tartarus because they have no idea what to do now. They're super, super, stupid strong, but they can't do the legend form every time.
And he just rips like Hoikomundo buttholes in space time. He does this kind of maneuver.
Black hole space star.
Where he just like opens his hands up in reverse and then just like butthole universe is open and he can just go into the golden universe. So it's dope because visually it looks really clean because he's got the gold silver look and he's like in this. It's like the elusive man's office. You know what I mean? He always opens those black holes that look like the sun. In the elusive man. And he just walks through them.
Because fuck it.
The
The next episode we got, and I'm sure this is where it took a bit of a breather. Where you get a change up of pace here because we get the introduction to Belial.
And I guess Belial, Ultraman Belial.
Ultraman Belial. So this is an alternate take to his timeline, I'm assuming.
Yes. So the whole point Absolute Tartarus goes to do is he's building the Legion of Doom from the greatest hits throughout the Ultraman timeline, but he's also altering their futures. So he grabs Ultraman Belial, and then he also grabs Tragear, who is the main villain of Taiga. And they are both... They consider themselves, these forms are called early style. It's essentially before their fall from grace. So Ultraman Belial, is this kind of, he looks like a meathead. He is just a big old meathead. He's still got the jaw and everything. It's kind of doofy looking. But he has this jawline in the face, but he doesn't have the crazy eyes so far. And this is before he combines with Ray Blood, which is how he becomes the Belial that we know and love.
Yep, I'm looking up the forms now. So it's you get this episode that's just full of a bunch of what could have been and let me show you what your future really is, and if you join me, do this XYZ. It's an excuse to recruit them. But I'm assuming because of how important Belial is to the core story, this alternate version being shown here in this movie is I don't know if the reception was well, but it felt like, oh wow, this is an okay what if, because they're just giving you a what if.
Yeah, and this episode talks a lot about their origins too. Like you find out that, I don't know if this was known or not, but I found this out, that Belial and Father of Ultra have a history together of being like brothers in arms sort of thing. And then it was your kind of typical, like, you know, the hero versus the secondary, and the secondary wanting to be the hero, but he's just not strong enough. He gets the like Ultra sword that turns him into essentially the Father of Ultra, and he gets a holy sword thing that's been passed down from Ultras, and it gives him a new form, and Ultraman becomes the Father of Ultra eventually. And they develop, you know, the Space Defense Force, whatever they call it in Ultraman, the Ultra Rescue Force, I think it was called, or something. Galactic Rescue Force, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Something very, very Toku sounding. And essentially, Belial is just jealous. Like, he got, you know, Father of Ultra got the girl, he got the power, he got everything Belial wanted, and Belial's just angry. And that's supposed to eventually kickstart him to becoming the Belial that we know when he combines with the Ray blood. But instead, Tartarus comes in and says,
because they didn't really explain that.
It's some race of aliens. Okay. Because there's a couple of them. There's one in the Orb series too. The guy who's creating all of the things Rebudus, he's a Ray blood.
I'm assuming it's super powerful.
Yeah, it's some angry virus alien thing.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, so Tartarus comes in and he says, hey man, this is your future, and shows him the entire future. All, you know, the Zero movies, when Jeed beats him, all of this kind of stuff. And he says, you know, eventually your son's going to kill you. And then turn you into a sword for Zet to use, but that didn't happen yet, but we're not going to go there.
He handles that pretty much the same way I would. He just starts laughing. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
really?
Like,
that's my fate? Okay, great. That's hilarious. He calls it a joke. He's like, that's a joke.
Yeah.
All right. So legit, like, it's like, what option are you then presented with if your future is to become a weapon?
So he's like, well, you can go down this and lose anyway, or you can come with me and become even stronger. And, you know, obviously it's Belial. He is obsessed with power. So he's going to go, okay, yeah, let's do that. So pretty cool little thing. And then they move on to Tragear, where same idea. You get the background with Tragear and Taro. And it was a similar thing where Tragear is a scientist, Taro is a warrior, and Taro essentially tells him, you know, I'll protect you from the darkness. And he sees Hikari fall to, what does he become? I forget what it's called. It was a kind of a sick name. It was something Hunter Knight Tsurugi. Hunter Knight Tsurugi. Yeah, because he falls to despair eventually. And he gets this kind of cool armor going on, and Hikari was Tragear's inspiration. That was his mentor. So Tragear is like, hey, if the person I look up to falls to this darkness, what good am I going to do? Because Hikari always wanted to go and help and fight and, you know, protect others, but he's not strong enough. Like he's not as strong as he's a scientist guy, and he's definitely not as strong as Taro. And that's the main crux.
Yeah, and then they deliver the message. You know, it's okay. Do what you can. Do what you're good at, and that's enough help.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But not good enough to keep him from the dark side.
Yeah, but I want to punch things, Dad. God.
Yeah, so Tartarus shows up. He reveals Trigger's future to him. He becomes this malicious demonic monster, Grimdo.
Yeah.
Sure that's another legacy thing.
It's from Taiga. So
one little spin to Trigger's name is actually dope. His name means mad curiosity. And I like
Tragear. So I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is kind of interesting. Peacemaker put in the chat. Tragear went super dark and ripped out his own color timer, apparently, in the original timeline.
Holy shit.
I gotta watch Taiga.
Holy shit, serious? Wow.
Yeah, I gotta watch Taiga. That's definitely next on the list. Okay.
Oh, look, the height that Taiga gets in this movie is justified, because if you're saying that that's a thing, holy shit, yeah.
Let's go. But yeah, so that Tragear, you know, he does his little hey, I'm not gonna be as mean and, you know, not do that. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna come back here. So yeah, he follows Tartarus as well, goes into the golden butthole, and that is
that's where that is.
At that point, you see the whole Legion of Doom. So there's a what do they call this thing? There's the Demon Zet Phantom whatever.
The Zeton forces,
Zeton forces,
Zet. So this is where they start doing the time shenanigans a lot, though. So time shenanigans become a thing. On Satellite Golgotha, this Gua army invasion force, something like that. It's made up of two characters, Mold, which is the legacy monster, and Judah. another legacy monster. They were defeated in the past by Ginga, Victory, and X.
Yes.
According to what they say in the movie. But it didn't happen in this now that he messed with the time.
Yeah.
They didn't even hear about these guys. They don't know who they are.
Because he plucked them out before it happened. So they show up in front of the 7 Ultras or 6 Ultras at this point, because I don't think the original, I don't think Father of Ultra's there.
Yeah, there's Taro, Zoffy, OG Ultraman, Ultra
Jack.
7, Jack, and Ace. Yeah, 6 of them.
So it's 6 of the 7, and they're like, hey, you were defeated already. And they're like, who even are these people? So they were snagged from a time before they weren't resurrected or anything like that. He just literally plucked them out of time.
Yep. So you get a lot of that going on. So, and I don't even think Ginga's in this movie.
No, he's
anyway,
not. No. Not other than like flashes. I think they mentioned him and they show like some clips. But he's really not in the movie.
After a brief fight, they give the power to Taro to do a supercharged attack, all 6 of them.
The Rainbow Spacium Beam, I believe, or something like that. Yeah, they all pump themselves into Taro. And I was like, oh, okay. That's cool.
I don't understand why they all refer to these now as parallel isotopes. It was a bit like sciencey, but I
think that's a MacGuffin kind of thing.
It's definitely a MacGuffin. I was like, why that particular name? Japanese people are so funny. So Zero shows up finally, and he takes Mold and Judah on until Taro shows up. So he basically, we get this impression that Zero's the shit, and I'm assuming
he is. He's been a fan favorite ever since he premiered. I think. Please, someone like Peacemaker, help me out here. I think Zero is one of those, like, he kind of rebooted the series almost into the new gen.
It felt like it because he really, every time he's on screen, he's like center of attention and hype as hell.
And I don't believe he had his own series. It was just a series of movies. And again, someone please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's what's going on. So he's always been, the dude. He's the big badass. He's the cocky dude. Belial premiered in his movies.
Gotcha.
So they've been like the two since then.
Gotcha. Yeah. It did give us, like I said, I don't know much, but I know Zero is dope. So that's pretty much it. He shows up, and then you get a little backstory of the next episode where they had summoned a monster previously and forced it to join what is now being called the Kingdom, which I'm assuming is the ultimate goal of the Absolutian.
Yep.
So the fear demon Zet is unleashed on planet Magi, something like that. Anyway, there's a training sequence going on between Taiga, Titus, and Fuma. And I didn't know Fuma. I guess I didn't know much about Taiga because I didn't recognize Fuma. I thought Fuma was another form of Taiga.
Yes, so Titus and Fuma, I'm pretty sure, are forms of Taiga. So I don't know. Again, I'll have to watch it. I'll update you once I watch it.
I know Titus is a separate character. I didn't know about Fuma. Yeah,
I guess they're. I guess they're all like they swap places with the bracer thing that they have, because I know they can like change into each other.
Something
like that. I don't know. Either way,
but all three of them are doing like a training thing, and then it's back to Ayaka City where Grigio is fighting 2 monsters and kicks their asses. It's just a lot of in between stuff. So this middle part is trudging through to introduce us to all the characters that are going to be important here forward. So you get the Taiga trio, you get Grigio, who's going to be important. Then we finally meet the most badass character of this movie, Jonius.
Clearly, he has some kind of relation to Titus, because they are both, not just because they're both big burly men, but they also, they're from the same planet, and he's like the big dude on campus kind of thing. So there's some kind of, I don't know if they're teacher and student or what, but apparently this planet just pumps out chads.
He's such a Chad. He's such a big football, and he looks the most different of all the older style riders. He has like a full helmet with no separation.
He looks like a straight up football player.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was getting at. He looks like a Lombardi trophy came to life. You know what I mean? So he beasts absolute Tartarus. When Tartarus shows up on U40, he just like, what are you doing here, bro?
Yeah, you're cute, huh?
What are you doing here? What are you doing? You gotta go. And then he kicks his ass and forces him to retreat. As the other two, as the Taiga crew take on the monsters that show up there, Reboot shows back up, and another character that I never knew, Andro
Melos, who is a member of the Defense Force, whatever they're doing. So he is I thought this was a very cool design. It was very, very Showa.
It felt like a Gundam. It felt like a Gundam unit.
Almost,
bro.
Yeah.
He looked like a G unit, like a GM.
Yeah, it's very cool, and I love his little like Zero cutter thing that he has going on that turns into a staff, and it's also like I don't know what else to call it other than like a ninja star glaive thing. So it is very cool. He's a very dope character. He doesn't do a whole lot in this, but like when he's fighting, it is very cool.
He doesn't even have named attacks. That was sad. Yeah. Everybody was doing their named attacks, and he's just like, and me too.
He's too cool for that. He doesn't need them.
I dropped a picture. For me, he gave me like heavy, like a mech vibe. But anyway, he shows up with Reboot, and they start fighting on the Zeton crew.
Yeah. The Zet army.
Taiga takes on a photon Earth form. That looked dope. They managed to capture what's dope about Taiga about the horns, and then added so much Agito style armor that I was like, yo, that is a dope design.
Yeah, it is very cool. They had kind of like a samurai and ninja thing going on because it was almost like a samurai armor, and then he's doing his like. To me, it had that kind of like layered look, the photon armor. So it almost felt like a samurai ninja thing going on, which was cool, and that's sword is dope. I really is that when he gets the sword? No, that's not when he gets the sword. I'm sorry, but yes, that form is cool. It is very cool. Photon Earth is just sick looking.
Dropped it in the Discord there. Yeah. So Taiga. So since Taiga is like a legacy character, they have like that continuity. It's so dope, man. So dope. Yeah. Anyway, a lot of this movie has thematic with the bonds that all these characters create. Because in this episode is where you get to know that Ultra Father is the grandfather of Taiga.
Yep.
Mebius finally shows up, and I was excited to see Mebius because I was getting interested in that, and I started watching it.
Okay.
So him being in this, he's such a G, which is where I think Zero got the vibe from, because he's showing Z, which is the one that you just watched, correct?
Yep. Z. Yep.
This was before his show.
Yes, so I think this takes place kind of between Taiga and Zet. So yeah, they're training on the Land of Light in a dojo, and Zet, really interesting. So this character, throughout the entire show, he is introduced as Zero's disciple. That's his whole relation to the whole thing. Yeah, and Zero is Leo's disciple. That kind of deal. And I think he's also Ultra 7's son, something like that, or Leo's son.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of connection dump that they did there. Zero's uncle is Leo, who he trained under.
Yes, and
7
so he's
is Zero's father.
Okay, that's what it was. Yes, thank you. Yeah. And then he's claiming to be Zero's disciple, but Mebius is like, "You're not even there yet, dude.
Yeah,
relax."
Like not yet, bro. Not yet. So, but you get the vibe that a lot of these Ultra characters are connected beyond their shows.
Yeah, which is kind of cool, and I think that's probably one of the appeals to it, that they all kind of know each other by the end of the show. It feels like Ultraman is always a thing where like an alien being comes to Earth, fuses with a human, and then they do their season, right? And it feels like when they do stuff like this that they really are like a race. You know what I mean? Like they all kind of know each other. There's the elite guard. They all have some kind of interaction because they're not just like pocket universes. You know what I mean? I mean, they kind of are, because Zero can do the whole dimension jump thing, but like they're not just pocket.
And their own thing, like Kamen time too, because they refer to like thousands of years like nothing. You know what I mean?
Like Zero is always talking about like 20,000 years too early kind of thing.
It's cute, but it's like that's scary to think about, really.
Yeah, and at one point Zero even tells Zet, "You're 20,000 years too early to be my disciple."
But not yet, bro.
It's funny, by the end of it, like you find out that Zero never actually accepted him to be his disciple. They never mentioned that once in Zet.
Really?
Once. So in Zet, it literally is introduced as Zero. I mean, it was kind of like a reluctant acceptance, I think, at that point, like implied, like I guess he is my disciple.
Right. Yeah.
But it literally starts
by default.
Zet starts where Zero and Zet like fly off to at the end of this. They talk about the visor being taken and all that by some shark Grigier or something like that. That's where the series starts. So you're introduced as like, oh yeah, this is his disciple. Zero gets stuck in a black hole for a little bit and goes off. And it was kind of cool because it kind of circles back around to once Zero gets out, this is where he comes back to. So that was a cool little tie into like the first couple episodes of the show.
Didn't know that. That's dope. That's really dope.
But I just thought it was funny that Zet was never actually like officially his disciple. He was just like, no, I'm your disciple. And he said it enough times where Zero was like, okay, I guess you're my disciple.
but I'm your disciple, right? Right. Yeah. We're not going through all this hell for nothing, right?
It was funny. I thought that was a cool little touch. And that just adds, I love Zet. He's so dope. Like him and his boy, they just are goofballs. They hang around, but they're also like super cool martial artists at the same time. Plus, he
Zed
has one of the
has a line
sexiest
in
forms
his-
of all time. So,
Oh, really?
Yes.
He had a line in here where he was making fun of the Zeton. He's like, "What an annoyingly similar name to mine."
yes.
And he starts beating their ass because he's pissed off
Yep.
that the names are too close. It's like, I'm like, okay, that's the character he's got. Okay.
The Gamma Future suit is hands down the best suit in Ultraman, in my opinion.
Zed Gamma Futures. Okay.
Get Gamma Future. Delta Rise Claw is very good too, just because I like the Belial sword. But Gamma Future is like the most peak Ultraman design.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a mix of Dyna, Gaia, and Tiga, I believe.
Is that power scale too? Is that like super powerful?
Yeah, he kind of does that thing like when we were watching that one where they just created a black hole in the sky kind of thing. He does that kind of nonsense.
That's kind of what they
He can
do.
just like
That is
make copies of himself, do all kinds of crazy things. He's a caster, quite literally. He just does shenanigans.
I like this. I like this a lot.
Yeah, it's very cool looking.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So, where were we in the story? Oh,
I don't even remember.
So Zed shows up. There's a giant showcase fight scene. That's pretty much it. They just show everybody's ultimate attack, which is where you get the named attacks. And unfortunately, Andro doesn't do anything.
It's fine.
He does manage
His
to do a
ninja
couple
star
of them.
turns into a staff, and that's all I needed. So
Yeah. Mavius goes brave form, which is dope. I have a picture of that.
is that the only form he has? Do you know? I honestly have no idea.
No, he has other forms. He just chose that one.
Okay.
Hang on. Rap. Lost it. There we go. Ultimate Shining Ultraman Zero. That form.
Yes. So Zero has a ton of different forms. I don't know if you've ever seen Zero's other forms. So he has that one. He has it was kind of just like they slapped a filter over it. That's his usual Ultraman Ultimate whatever. I think it's just Ultimate Zero, something like that.
It was Ultimate Shining Ultraman Zero.
Yeah. So he kind of just gets the big like triangle armor, if anyone's ever seen that, where he gets like the arm sword. It's that form, but they slap like a silverish rainbow filter on top of it. And then he also has the Beyond and the Neo forms and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, he's got all kinds of stuff.
He gets all these dope power ups just because.
Just because, like he's traveled through so many different movies and things at this point. It is what it is. So yes, that is Ultimate, and then he gets Shining Ultimate and Strong Corona as well, apparently. But he also has Ultraman Zero Beyond, which is if you've ever seen that henshin from Jeed, it's like the 10-minute henshin. Have you ever seen that one?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. So he makes literally he scans 4 different battery things to make 2, and then scans those 2 to do the henshin. It is the longest henshin I've ever seen in my life.
Isn't it fun? Isn't Jeed awesome?
Jeed's great. I love
Jeed's
Jeed.
awesome. So, Ultimate Shining Ultra Zero pulls Tartarus into the butthole black hole. They start fighting inside of there into the Shadow Realm. Taiga forms the Tri-Strium form, which looks really clean.
That's where he gets the really cool sword.
Yes, that is a dope form.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Let me find a picture of that. Taiga
I like the horns. They have this really cool like flare out on the horns, similar to Photon Earth, but like the red, so it just works really well with the accents and stuff. And he gets this really cool sword that he can like spin and do stuff with, and yeah, it's very, very cool.
Yep, and I have a picture of that here. But yeah, so you get that showcase of his power, and I didn't understand the level of power he had. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Like he is. I guess it's because he was the current show that they gave him that little moment, but he is super damn powerful, dude.
Yeah, I mean, they all kind of. It seems like they all kind of just jump into their like final form for a little bit if they had one. So I don't know if that was all of their like final forms. They just mode shifted for a lot of them, but they all kind of like level up for the last fight.
Oof, found it. There you go. So yeah. Unfortunately, that fight didn't go too well for Zero, so he gets tossed right back out of the which sucks because they only showed like a little bit of it and then it was over. I wish they would have shown what happened. But suddenly, he gets thrown out of the black hole. Tartarus gets Yulian and is basically like, "That's it, guys."
Yeah, or he mazes her, throws her in a prison cell with someone else, who we have talked about before, but we'll get there because I have a whole thing about him.
We'll get there. So the baddies. So again, to go in line with the Infinity War vibes, the baddies win.
Yeah.
They don't really get much of an advantage. They don't manage to stop anything. But the what really kind of randomly happens is like they also throw into the mix that, hey, while this was happening, the bad guys also managed to steal 2 of these devices that are really important to us. So Z and Zero decide, all right, we have to split up. We're gonna go this way. You guys go that way, and that's pretty much it.
You go this way. I'll go home.
Before much of a plan can be formed, they're already jumping into the black hole after Absolute Tartarus and Yulian, and the other Ultras are like, we will come up with a better plan. And that's it. Then we get a Marvel-style mid-credit scene where we're introduced to the mystery character.
Yeah, the mystery character, Ultraman Regulos.
Regulus.
So we have not seen him in action yet because they have not released the second part of this, but he is chained up, and Yulian recognizes him as part of the Beast Cosmos Fist, which is the coolest goddamn name I've ever heard in my life.
Say that again. Beast Cosmo Fist. Ooh, that is awesome.
Ooh, it's so good.
Beast Cosmos Fist Regulus. Ooh, that's such a great name.
Because he has the tattoos on his arms. He's got the lightning white tiger and the flaming red dragon. And those are going to be hearken, hopefully, to his forms and things like that. There's just some toys right now of him, but we will see him more in the Destined Crossroad whenever that drops this year. So
dropped a picture of him in the Discord for you guys.
Yeah, it is
Ultraman.
Very, very, very cool.
Yeah, so he'll be exciting. So other than him being the Vision that will change the tables in the story, yeah, all in all, what'd you think?
I fucking love this movie.
Agreed.
I fucking love this movie. So this movie, like, as I said, it is not something that 5 years ago I would have watched at all.
No.
And part of it is because, like, people suggested Ultraman, you know, our bias towards it, you know, is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
And again, I think we just got a really unlucky hand of a first introduction to Ultraman.
Dinah.
Yeah, Dinah. I'm hoping Decker is a lot better than Dinah.
It has to be.
It has to be. So, yeah, no, I even not knowing most of these characters, like I've seen them from other things, from passively, you know, watching things on Twitter and just YouTube videos, things like that. I had enough that I enjoyed it, even if I had no idea who they were. Like, I had no idea Johnnyus was a thing before this. And he was a badass.
I am okay with the impression that I got of Jonius. No, I want nothing else of him.
Nope,
I'm good.
That's it.
That's who he is.
I'm not going to watch the cartoon. I'm not going to do nothing.
He's the brick shit house that is just like, here's my balls, you can have them.
Yep. And he is not that beefy in his original show. I'll just say that. So
really, that sucks.
No, he just kind of has a really big helmet. It's very strange looking.
Okay, that's why
also,
I'm going to leave it at this.
I'm just going to read this quote real quick because this is amazing. From Ultraman Regulos himself. I am the Grand Master of the Cosmo Beast style. Ultraman Regulos of the Red Dragon White Tiger Fist.
Oh.
This dude is so extra. I love it. He even has tribal tattoos.
More of that. I need more of that. Mark just dropped something in this. I have an Ultraman by a shelf. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Dang. Look at all that taiga.
All right, hold on. Is that Gridman?
No, those are the Ultramans from the Netflix show.
I don't know what these are.
So you got the Ultramans from the Netflix show. You got Taiga. You have, I can't tell who that one is because I'm bad at this. I don't know what that monster
Mark,
is.
What's the monster? I like that thing.
That is X and maybe Hikari and one of the Evil Zeros. I'm pretty sure.
Evil Zero?
Evil Zeros?
Evil Zeros?
There's Evil Zeros.
God. I thought they were just other forms of him.
Alien Guts. Thank you. Nope.
Alien Death?
Yep. So
I like it.
I like it. That is that.
Dub shelf, bro.
Yeah.
Look at all that button. All right, man. All right.
Yeah, this is honestly, like, I've been kind of leaning towards the, like, oh no, Ultraman's actually kind of cool. This is the thing where I was like, okay, yeah, no, Ultraman's fucking cool.
Yeah, like, and legitimately, I want to watch this movie again after we've become more accommodated with Ultraman. Like, I'm so excited to go back and appreciate even deeper levels. And then whenever the sequel comes out, maybe we'll marathon them. Like, dude, I'm excited for this now. Let's do this.
I hope they drop it, like, I don't know. It was only like 3 episodes, so maybe it's like 3 and then they just drop the movie kind of thing the 4th week. And then, because I would just watch them. I mean,
I want to.
I want to see this. Did you watch the prologue for the new one? I'm assuming the like extra episode.
No, I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay, well that's where they go into it for a minute, where it's like Regulos is chained up, and that's where Julian is like, hey, I know you. You're the Cosmo Beast from whatever unit UO19, whatever number she says. That was the prologue. So if you just watch that episode, you watch the prologue. So that's supposed to lead directly into it. And then we also find out that Belial and Tregi are getting bathed in more Absolutian energy because they go back to the home planet, and you learn that the Absolutians have a almost mirror to the Land of Light. They have a big spire that releases their light energy that they feed off of and has apparently evolved them. Yes. And you see the, I guess, devolved Absolutians, and they're literally just Spartans in like gold armor with like full black bodysuits.
I'm done. So, what do I sign?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Holy shit, are you serious, man?
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So, and Peacemaker is also saying the new gen one is really good, and that's what got him into Ultraman. So we're definitely going to check that out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so the Absolutians were all just kind of like silver, like Roman, Spartan armor kind of thing.
That's amazing.
And then this light that they have apparently is what evolved them. And that's where we also meet the big doofy Chad Absolutian. I've showed him before, the big buff one with the horns.
Oh, man, let me see that again, because holy crap, man.
I will pull up a picture in just a moment, but the big buff dude with the horns, I forget his name, I don't know his name. Diavolo. We also see Diavolo for the first time. So, boop. Pop this right in here real quick. Oh, and helps if I hit the actual control key. So this is Diavolo.
This man. Yeah, that angry guy.
Yup.
Oh,
that's a big one. He's going to fight in the next one. That's going to be cool.
He's angry.
Yeah, he's very angry. I like it.
So I'm super, super stoked for this, man. We need this.
Yeah. And there's a couple other people. They also introduce you to Absolute Titan, who is the other dude. He seems to be more of the fencer style, swordsman kind of thing. Oh, I didn't realize I switched the screen off. And I'll put this one in the Discord for you as well.
Okay.
So that's the gang. That's the crew. The three-man squad.
Well, he has a very different slang.
Yeah, he almost looks like I think it's Jack from the anime, the Ultraman anime on Netflix. That's where they wear the suits.
I see that.
Yeah, he's the one who has like the electro arms. You got the robot arms. And then here's the Absolutians in their older forms. This is kind of like your generic Absolutian. So this is
definitely heavy Spartan vibes, dude. That's a legit Spartan.
Yeah, big Spartan energy kind of thing. So that's the thing that happened.
Looks like Dark Souls lackeys.
Yeah, it does.
All right. Yeah, man. Like, honestly, I love this movie. I can't wait to watch it again in the future. Can't wait for whatever's gonna come out of that, because that looks so much more dope. Hopefully, next time we get a couple of you guys on, because if you want to hype this movie up enough, I can't stress how hyped this movie is for me.
Maybe when it drops, we'll try and do like a watch party or something.
Hell yeah, man.
That'd be kind of cool. I also found this. This is quite interesting. I will pull it up for everyone else in just a moment, but is a picture of 4 Absolutians, and there is one more that is in shadows, and it seems to be a female Absolutian. This is a very badass artwork too.
Yeah, holy shit.
I don't know what this is, but it's dope as hell. You got Absolute Tartarus in the middle, you got Diavolo behind them being Diavolo, you got Titan to the left, and then on the right there is this silhouetted female Absolutian figure. Also, I'm just going to say Tartarus once again has the big pointed shoulders that I love. So
Tartarus is clean. All these designs are so clean, man, and I'm even excited to see what they're gonna do with even the basic lackeys look dope. Come on, nothing about this. I have no negatives about this other than I wish the story was a little more fleshed out. But fuck it.
But I mean, it's called Ultra Galaxy Fight. The point is for them to fight. So.
I don't care. Give me more.
I'm here for it. This movie was fantastic. I highly recommend this too. And like I said, we went into this not knowing a lot of Ultraman at all and still had a blast. So I highly, highly, highly recommend this to anyone who has any inkling of Ultraman whatsoever. Also, Peacemaker's recommending the new generation one. I'm going to go watch that probably later. But yeah, no, these movies are quite good. And again, support this YouTube channel because this is the gold standard of distribution. Tsuburaya is trying to give us Toku throughout the world for free.
This is how it gets done. This is how it gets done, by just putting it out there and all of us reminding them how much it's appreciated.
Imagine a world where you don't have to download things from the cat site. and you just go to YouTube and you watch entire seasons. Wild.
Carl, too much. Carl, too much.
Crazy. It's almost like a certain other company with a T could really learn from that. I loved getting 3 episodes 6 months ago. It was great.
Careful, Carl. You're gonna get sniped through your window.
I'm gonna get black bagged with like a grasshopper motif on it.
Someone's gonna kick in your door.
It'll be all like robbers, but they'll have like the Sentai colors on. They'll all just be like a solid red, solid yellow, solid blue.
You're gonna get Go Ranger. That's what it'll call.
Oh yeah,
dude, you got Go Ranger. Did you see it?
Jack's gonna jump through my window. Jack Q. Oh my goodness. Let's check out some news.
Oh, what's in the news lately?
Well, I know of at least one big thing that they announced that was an April Fool's joke originally, but it's apparently not anymore. So that's neat.
So they're kind of like, okay, we're like seriously though.
No, but really,
great joke, but like serious. Yeah. This is legit.
So starting from back, there was a Gigan 50th anniversary project announced. So I'm here for that. I love me some Gigan. Oh yeah. So on March 31st, the official Japanese Godzilla Twitter account announced a crowdfunding campaign for the Gigan 50th anniversary project. The purpose of this campaign is to fund the creation of a brand new Gigan suit based on the 1970s design of the character, which will be used in a new Tokusatsu short film, as well as various events and exhibitions. Money collected through the company will be used to compensate for the production of the suit and short film, as well as various rewards and their respective shipping costs. So that makes me feel like maybe the suit got destroyed.
Yes, you can obviously tell. But through crowdfunding, that means we're going to get a half decent design, but the lighting is going to be the trick.
Yeah, and I think with like new techniques, you can make it look really, really good because the old suit doesn't look bad at all.
When you do a particular monster project, like, what are you doing with that? What are you going to do with Gigan that you can't do with anybody else?
I mean, they did the Hedorah versus Godzilla 2004 not too long ago.
So they'll slap Godzilla into this and kind of just cream it up.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they could do. Yeah, it's very easy. Gigan also is one of those like unexplored old school characters where like he's in a couple movies. He's usually just like the villain. He's in Megalon, which is like the one that all the memes are from. That's like the flying tail gif and like the flying through the air with the breath. He's in that one. That's also where, you know, the People's Champion Jet Jaguar fights Gigan. So it's a perfect movie.
Respect Jet Jaguar.
Yeah, Jet Jaguar is the People's Champion.
It's such a weird design, but I mean, hey, if anyone, I still want a new Hedorah. But you know,
this was I don't know if I ever told you this, but Gigan was my favorite design until Destroyer came out.
This Gigan gives me the because I believe I had a figure of him when I was younger.
Yeah,
and he came with the Mecha Godzilla, and it got neglected because we had Mecha Godzilla.
That's fair.
It's not a bad design, man. It's like it's a snapping turtle with a single cycloptean eye.
Yep.
And
then in Final Wars, his hooks are replaced by giant chainsaws. He has 2 chainsaws in a clamps type form. Yes.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's Mecha Gigan.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair.
Yep.
That would make sense.
That's the thing that happens. I'm going to find you a picture because that is a very important piece of Toku history.
Gigan. I'm with it. Well, maybe that's what the crowdfunding is for. They're going to redo Mecha Gigan.
That would be so sick.
They're going to turn him into General Grievous with like 70. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, buddy. That is Mecha Gigan from the Final Wars series. I'm going to pull it up for everyone watching live. It is a very anime dark suit. As you can tell, it is not much of the original suit at all.
No, this is
which,
wow.
That's also kind of solidifies that I feel like the original suit is probably destroyed. But yeah, he's got the clamps that are chainsaws, and he can also fire his leg. I believe it had like a grappling hook on it, so he could like hook people up with it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Okay. Gigan's fucking sick.
So that'll be the new project. It'll be a Mecha Gigan project.
So
that's dope.
Yep. I am down for that. I mean, it said that it was based on the original show, so even if they give him like the doofy little claws again, there is a picture here. I'll show you the one from the movie. So this is how he originally looked in the movie before he became Mecha. So Final Wars is a fantastic movie. It's just a love letter to the series. Same idea. It's pretty much the same thing. They just replaced the hands with hooks instead of, the saws.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I
mean, either way, that's a dope design. So
it is fantastic. Yes. So I'm down for more Gigan. I am always down for more Gigan. Gigan is beautiful, and I love them. So
dig it.
Down for that. Apparently, there's also a Kamen Rider Revice special event a new live performance event that is going to be happening in May. So May 4th to the 5th. It will take place at the Hiten Main Banquet Hall in Grand Prince Hotel in Shintakanawa in Tokyo.
Nailed it. I'll take it.
Took a second, but we got there. This event will be split into 2 parts. The first includes a special stage performance, an ongoing original story, and the second part of this event will feature a talk show from the main cast. Cool.
Oh. It would be nice to go to one of those just to get the experience to see what it's like. That's dope.
Yeah. And Tetsuya Iwanaga announced his departure from Les Pros Entertainment. He just left his talent agency. That's Ganem. Dan Kuroto left his talent agency. So he's off to the wind, but that doesn't stop them from announcing a new Ganem's project. The Presidents Are Back. It was originally announced on April Fool's Day, so everyone thought it was a joke, but Dan Kuroto and Towser are going to square up once again.
So is this gonna be a thing they do now? Like,
this is gonna be a thing, I guess.
These versus battles seem so arbitrary now.
Yes.
Oh god.
They did release pictures of Genem Muteki and also the Arc Towser are the two.
Yes.
I'm gonna pull up the actual picture here.
Yeah, I have those here.
Arc
Towser.
Arc Towser looks pretty sick. It's Towser, but it looks like the Black Towser from the past President's movie, but it now has the red and white accents from Arc, and Genem Muteki is very Sephiroth, if you will. So this is Arc Towser, as you can see, very much Arc, very much Towser. I'm here for it. That sounds kind of scary, honestly.
They legitimately took the Sephiroth bangs and just threw it on the helmet. So there's no mystery there. You're getting that.
Yep.
Arc Towser, it's the superior design. It has a more complete feel, but that's it.
Yeah. I mean, I never felt any strong way about Kamen Rider L'Oreal. So having evil L'Oreal, the dandruff L'Oreal, if you will, the conditioner, I guess, the shampoo and the conditioner, I guess that's fine. I think it looks a lot better in purple than it does in gaudy gold. But, that's just me. The
Yautja look with the braids, it never struck me good. I always had
Yeah.
It was the eyes for beginning with, but everything else about Muteki is whatever.
I also, you've rewatched it more recently than I did.
And I've come around to the story.
Yeah.
But it still did nothing for the designs. The designs are still
I would have to...
I wish it was just something else.
I'd have to rewatch, I think, to really get it. Because that's when I stopped, right when Muteki appeared. I was like, okay, we're good. I saw the final form.
Yeah, and that's nothing other than be like every final form, effective for an episode or two, and then
literally be the invincible Mario star. Got it.
Yeah, that's it.
So that was announced. Yeah, that was announced on April Fool's Day of all things. So
I guess we'll check that out at some point.
Yeah, is there? I'm trying to see if there's a date. Became reality in 2021, and again, I'm Smart Brain in 1000 Crisis. Kuroto Dan returns in his appearance. Dan Kuroto is also a human gear this time. His virus part infects a human gear, so that's neat.
That's actually clever. That's clever.
Yeah.
Okay, that's one way to do it. That makes
one way
sense
to bring him back.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
And then on the toy front, the unofficial Sentai Akiba Ranger was announced. They have a new set coming out with season 1 and season 2 blue and yellow, because there were 2 different people in those seasons. And then they have red, and they also have a Sentai gear and the gears as well. So they have Ranger keys and gears. It's a set of all of them, I believe. I could be wrong. They could have split it. But either way, you get 5 keys and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gears, something like that. One of them is molded on, the rest are stickers, if anyone is interested in that. That is available for pre-order, I believe, now. So that's pretty cool. The Key Ranger's pretty dope.
Because I'm always interested in that stuff. I can't afford it. I want to live the lifestyle. I just can't afford that lifestyle.
Yeah,
but I love it.
And
the shelf would be saturated.
Yeah, that's a big kicker. It's also it's just going to sit there for the most part, and yeah.
Okay.
So, I don't either. It's fine. It's just expensive.
Yeah.
The last, I think, kind of major news is Yuriko Shiratori, the one who played, I believe her name was Hannah in the show, from Kamen Rider Den-O, the female star. She kind of came out and talked about why she left the show, which I never know she left. I thought they just recasted her for some reason. So she left the show, apparently, and she kind of came forth with why and how she felt about the show. And it seemed to be, honestly, generally positive. She talks about how she was always a farm girl, kind of out in the boonies, not really having a lot of friends. And then she got on set and everyone was like a friend she'd had for a really long time. They just all gelled really well. And the reason she left is because of her health. So she, kind of got sick during it. And
really,
like they just kind of all gelled really well, but she couldn't keep up with the production and the needs of the production. So she felt bad about that. And she apparently does stay in touch with the cast members and crew. And yeah, she says, I pushed myself too hard, lost balance between mind and soul. There were so many days when I struggled knowing that I couldn't see Hannah to the end. Now that time has passed, I'm in a much better place than I was before. So
damn.
Wow. Very cool. Actually, it's not very cool because clearly she was having some mental health issues. But it's interesting to see this kind of stuff come out because I feel like we don't get this too often.
I mean, it's not that we have a hand to the pulse of the celebrity world in Japan, but it's interesting to see the behind the veil. Like we it always the human aspect. I mean, I think another piece of news that we should mention is the Kaito situation from Gaim. He was dropped from his agency because he was caught shoplifting or something like that.
Great.
Yeah. So you get both the dichotomy here, where it's like there's good and the bad world. So how much of that do you want to be exposed to? But yeah, these people are people. Things happen. When you're picked up from one world you've always known, and then suddenly you're like the hot shit and the focal point.
Yeah.
Some people are either sharpened by that or can't hack it, and that's unfortunate because I'm sure if you're coming off of Deno, Takeru Sato is an anomaly, but I mean, you should assume that there's always going to be more options down the road for people.
And I think he also has kind of like he feels like he's done his part, and he's kind of like stepped away from Deno at this point. Like he's focusing on a million other movies. You know what I mean? Like he was in the Rurouni Kenshin movies I gush about every once in a while. Stuff like that.
I just watched Inuyashiki the other night, and I didn't know that he was the bad guy until I realized it was him.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit.
So he's off doing his own thing, and I'm sure he, appreciates Deno because that was kind of the kickstart of his mainstream career. But, he's moved on, and that's fine. Yes, cool was a poor choice of words. It's interesting to see.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm glad that she's in a much better place, and she's feeling better overall. And it was just interesting to see that she kind of came out about why that whole random shift sort of happened in the show. So
yeah, and it's relevant too because think about it. Like, how long has it been since Deno? And then she's getting a question about why she left the show from back then. People still care. Yeah. People still want to know.
They do. I mean, it was rated just this year the most popular series in Japan. So, yeah, I get it. Like people are still by the NHK results, where Blade once again beat Gaim in almost every category. Thank you very much. That was a good Tokudon. I will see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
If you want to catch more of me, you can follow me on Twitter at Kaiju Carl. We also have a Twitter page for the podcast now. Make sure you go follow that at Tokudon Cast on Twitter. That's where we post all the episodes and things like that. We just thought it would be a nice place to kind of centralize all that stuff. And then, if you're watching live, you know where to find me, twitch.tv/Kaiju Carl. If you're watching in the future times or in the audio, come hang out. We play some video games every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And Sunday, we usually talk about stuff. But Blade Gang, that is correct, Mark. You are correct. Blade Gang.
I'll allow it today. I'm 6. You can catch me here on Sundays with Carl. You can email me your creepy stories on so I can post them onto my YouTube channel, 6echoes.se@gmail.com. Send me your stuff. I like to talk about spooky stuff. So I'm going to be helping you out later on talking about I have an idea for one of your coffee houses. I want to plug that here because that's coming up pronto. I have been obsessing about Legend of Dragoon lately, and I am going to rant on that. So join us then, because I'm sure if you guys have a soft spot for Legend of Dragoon, if you appreciated it like we did, it changed my life for a good forever. So
it's just keep an eye out. I'll post up when all these things start coming out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but the entire idea is, once again, I explained it at the beginning of the show, but if you weren't here, just kind of talk about other non-Toku type things, because I'm not a robot and cartoon character that's into one thing and one thing only. So that's kind of the idea. We're going to talk about some Legend of Dragoon at some point. I got some other episodes planned, some Gundam in there, some other things, Air Gear, to name drop something that, so you guys will see some stuff. It's probably going to, jump back to video games a lot of the times, but it's not always going to be video games. So the idea is just grab a hot cup of something and chill and chat. That's the idea. So keep an eye out for that. But this podcast is Tokudon. And we are out of here, my friends. Have a good weekend, everyone.
See ya.